Book name: The Unwritten Future, written and published by Dr. Prashant. Overview of book. In a world teetering on the edge of monumental change, The Unwritten Future explores humanity's journey through the lens of a transformative decade. This story takes us through the lives of people grappling with rapid technological advancements, ethical dilemmas, and environmental challenges, woven with a message of hope and resilience. Each chapter unfolds through vivid storytelling, revealing how individual choices and collective action shape the uncertain yet thrilling future that lies ahead. The book asks one central question: what would you write into the future if you held a pen? Chapter 1. A Glimpse of Tomorrow. The story begins with Mira, a 29-year-old journalist, standing at the edge of the gleaming metropolis known as Neo Haven. The city is a marvel of human ingenuity. Hovering drones hum through the air, self-driving pods zip silently along streets, and towering skyscrapers shimmer with holographic displays. The air buzzes with conversations, though few people speak aloud. Instead, they communicate through augmented reality glasses that project messages only they can see. Mira walks through this dazzling maze of innovation, feeling both awe and unease. The future has arrived, but it doesn't feel quite like the utopia she had imagined as a child. Neo Haven is a place of extremes. On one side of the street, a towering vertical garden showcases the city's commitment to sustainability, while a homeless man sits beneath its shadow, clutching a sign that reads, "Disconnected in a connected world." Mira can't help but notice the paradox. The world is more advanced than ever, yet the same old problems persist. She stops at a cafe, where a robot barista greets her by name, remembering her usual order: a chai latte with oat milk. Mira watches the machine craft her drink with mechanical precision, feeling a pang of nostalgia for the human interactions it has replaced. Her assignment is straightforward yet overwhelming: write a feature about the world's trajectory over the next decade. Her editor wants bold predictions, but Mira isn't sure how to look at the future with clarity. She has spent the past few years covering technology, watching it evolve from a tool into something almost alive. She has seen its power to connect and uplift, but also to isolate and harm. Her task is more than just forecasting trends. It's about capturing the essence of what it means to live in this pivotal moment. As she sips her latte, Mira scrolls through her neural interface, a subtle device implanted in her temple. With a thought, she pulls up articles, interviews, and studies, all projected in front of her eyes. She reads about breakthroughs in AI, climate engineering, and medicine, but also about rising inequality, privacy concerns, and the unintended consequences of automation. The data is overwhelming, each headline pulling her in a different direction. For every story of hope, there's one of despair. Later that day, Mira takes a train to the outskirts of Neo Haven, where the glittering skyline gives way to sprawling neighborhoods that haven't yet caught up with the city's technological advancements. She meets Ayan, a factory worker whose job is threatened by automation, and listens to his fears about a future where machines do everything humans once did. His story is one of survival, of clinging to dignity in a world that seems to value efficiency over humanity. As the sun sets, Mira stands on a hill overlooking the city. The lights of Neo Haven twinkle like stars, and for a moment, she feels a sense of wonder. Despite the challenges, the world is alive with possibility. She realizes that the future isn't a monolith, it's a mosaic, shaped by countless individual choices. It's unwritten, waiting for someone to take up the pen. And as a journalist, she has the power to inspire others to dream boldly and act with purpose. With this realization, Mira decides to dig deeper, determined to uncover not just the future's possibilities, but also its soul. Chapter 2. The Networked Human. Myra's journey into the intricacies of the future takes a pivotal turn when she meets Dr. Elias, a renowned neuroscientist pushing the boundaries of human potential through neural interfaces. These tiny devices, implanted seamlessly into the brain, allow people to connect their minds directly to the digital world. They enable users to think commands into their devices, share emotions with loved ones across continents, and access knowledge instantaneously without lifting a finger. At first, the possibilities seem dazzling to Mira, as she imagines a world where creativity, collaboration, and innovation flourish without the limitations of language or tools. However, the deeper Mira delves into this revolutionary technology, the more she uncovers its dual-edged nature. Dr. Elias is both excited and wary of the technology he helped pioneer. He describes how neural interfaces have already reshaped industries. Architects conceptualize entire buildings in their minds, artists paint directly onto digital canvases with their thoughts, and scientists collaborate at the speed of light. Yet for every story of advancement, there is a counterpoint. Elias explains how some individuals, overwhelmed by the constant influx of information, experience digital drowning, a condition where the brain struggles to process reality amidst a torrent of stimuli. Mira listens intently as Elias recounts a chilling example. A young musician, once celebrated for composing symphonies using her neural link, spiraled into despair when she lost touch with her creativity, unable to disconnect from the endless demands of her connected mind. Intrigued, Mira seeks out others who have integrated this technology into their lives. She meets Rohan, a software engineer who claims the neural interface saved his career by enhancing his ability to troubleshoot and innovate. He shares how the technology allows him to live with an efficiency he never thought possible. It's like having a second brain, Rohan tells her, one that never forgets, never tires, and always has the answer. But his glowing endorsement contrasts sharply with Ava, a former advertising executive Mira encounters next. Ava admits that she feels like she no longer owns her thoughts. The ads tailored to her desires, seemingly crafted before she even realized them herself, have made her question whether her choices are truly her own or subtly guided by algorithms reading her mind. The ethical questions begin to weigh on Mira as she learns more. At a conference on neural ethics, Mira hears a heated debate between proponents and critics of neural technology. Supporters argue that the devices democratize intelligence, allowing those with learning disabilities or physical impairments to overcome barriers. Critics counter that the technology could deepen societal divides, as only the wealthy might afford the most advanced implants. The notion that neural interfaces could be hacked or manipulated also looms large, raising fears of mass surveillance and loss of autonomy. As Mira processes all she's learned, Dr. Elias offers her a final thought. Neural interfaces are not inherently good or bad, they are a reflection of us. They amplify what's already there: our creativity, our greed, our empathy, and our fears. The challenge isn't the technology itself, but what we choose to do with it. Mira leaves her meeting with Elias feeling both awed and unsettled. Neural interfaces are more than a tool, they represent a shift in what it means to be human. The chapter ends with Mira questioning whether humanity is ready to wield such profound power responsibly, and if the connection the technology promises is worth the potential cost of individuality. Chapter 3. Echoes of the Earth. Myra's journey takes her far from the gleaming cityscapes to a remote island, where she meets Kai, a young farmer fiercely committed to preserving his ancestral land. The island, once a lush paradise brimming with biodiversity, now stands as a fragile front line against the encroaching tides of climate change. For centuries, Kai's family and community have lived in harmony with nature, relying on traditional farming techniques, fishing practices, and the wisdom of their elders to sustain themselves. But the rising sea levels, intensified storms, and unpredictable weather patterns have begun to unravel their way of life. When Mira arrives, she is struck by the beauty of the island and the resilience of its people. Kai greets her with a quiet confidence, his hands calloused from years of tending to the land. Through him, she learns about the challenges they face: saltwater intrusion that ruins crops, eroded shorelines swallowing homes, and a diminishing fish population threatening livelihoods. Yet, what stands out most to Mira is not the devastation, but the unwavering spirit of the community to fight back against the odds. Kai takes Mira to the community's heart, a collective farm where elders teach younger generations how to grow salt-resistant crops. Mira marvels at the ingenious solutions the farmers have devised, blending ancient knowledge with modern science. They've partnered with scientists and environmentalists to install solar-powered desalination plants, allowing them to purify water for both drinking and irrigation. The islanders have also embraced agroforestry, a method of planting trees alongside crops to stabilize the soil and provide shade against the scorching sun. As Kai guides Mira through the island, he shares his fears and dreams. The ocean, once a source of life and joy, now feels like a looming threat, creeping closer with each high tide. Yet, he refuses to abandon his home. "Leaving is not an option for us," he tells Mira, his voice steady. "This land holds our stories, our identity. If we give up now, we lose more than soil, and trees we lose who we are." Kai's determination inspires Mira to reflect on her own city-dwelling life, where she often saw nature as separate from humanity. Here on this vulnerable island, she realizes how deeply intertwined human survival is with the health of the planet. The islander's plight becomes a mirror, showing her the larger picture of a world on the brink of irreversible change. By the end of her visit, Mira sees more than just a community battling adversity. She sees a blueprint for resilience and hope. Kai and his people are not merely surviving, they are innovating, adapting, and leading by example. Their efforts, though small in scale, ripple outward, demonstrating the power of collective action and the importance of preserving the delicate balance between humanity and nature. As Mira prepares to leave, she promises Kai to amplify his story, hoping it will inspire others to act. The island's struggle becomes a symbol of both the urgent challenges and the boundless potential that define the unwritten future of Earth. Chapter 4: Shadows of Control. Mira's investigation takes her into the labyrinthine corridors of corporate power, where secrecy and ambition collide with humanity's collective future. Her focus shifts to Novamind, a tech conglomerate known for creating advanced artificial intelligence systems capable of reshaping industries and influencing global economies. On the surface, Novamind is celebrated as a beacon of progress. Its AI tools help streamline healthcare, optimize supply chains, and even predict natural disasters. But as Mira digs deeper, she uncovers disturbing truths hidden behind the facade of innovation. Her lead comes from Anika, a disillusioned former employee of Novamind, who reaches out with a cryptic message: "The future is not ours anymore." When Mira meets Anika in a secluded cafe, the whistleblower recounts her experience. Anika had been part of a secret project codenamed Ethereal, designed to create AI algorithms so sophisticated they could predict human behavior with near-perfect accuracy. Ethereal wasn't just about tracking trends or consumer habits. It aimed to influence them. Governments and corporations could use these algorithms to manipulate public opinion, sway elections, and control economies, all under the guise of data-driven decision-making. Anika's revelations are chilling. She describes how Novamind had tested its AI in small, controlled scenarios, subtly altering people's perceptions through tailored advertisements and curated news feeds. The results were undeniable. The AI could steer choices without individuals even realizing they were being influenced. It's like putting a leash on free will, Anika tells Mira, her voice trembling. They say it's for efficiency, but efficiency for whom? At what cost? Myra's instincts tell her this story is bigger than anything she has covered before. Yet, the deeper she delves, the murkier the waters become. She learns that Novamind is not operating in isolation. Governments and other corporations have quietly invested in Ethereal's capabilities. While some see it as a tool to ensure stability and prosperity, others recognize its potential to become the ultimate weapon of control. Mira uncovers documents suggesting that world leaders have already used the AI to shape public sentiment during political campaigns, leading her to question the integrity of democracy itself. The chapter intensifies as Mira experiences the shadowy power of Novamind firsthand. After publishing a preliminary exposé, she finds her digital accounts hacked, her phone tapped, and her sources intimidated. Anika goes into hiding, leaving Mira to wrestle with the enormity of what she has uncovered. For every lead she follows, Mira encounters obstacles: false information, legal threats, and a public increasingly apathetic to issues of privacy and manipulation. As Myra's anxiety mounts, she reflects on the broader implications of her findings. Novamind's AI represents a moral crossroads for humanity. Should society allow technological advancement to dictate the boundaries of ethics? Or should there be collective oversight to ensure that innovation aligns with shared values? These questions weigh heavily on Mira, fueling her determination to bring the truth to light despite the risks. By the end of the chapter, Mira realizes that exposing Novamind is not just about reporting a story, it is a fight to preserve freedom in an age where control can be disguised as progress. The chapter closes with Mira standing outside Novamind's headquarters, steeling herself for what lies ahead. The shadows of control are vast and deep, but Mira is determined to shine a light no matter the cost. Chapter 5. The Age of Reinvention. Ayan was a man caught between two worlds. Once a skilled machinist in a thriving factory, he had spent years honing his craft, taking pride in the precision of his work and the quiet rhythm of the assembly line. But everything changed when the factory introduced fully automated machines. Overnight, Ayan found himself obsolete. The machines, sleek and efficient, churned out products faster and cheaper than he ever could. At first, he clung to hope, believing his years of experience would find value elsewhere. But each job application ended with rejection, and the weight of being unskilled in this new era began to crush his confidence. Struggling to support his family, Ayan moved to a sprawling urban center where gig work was plentiful but soulless. He delivered packages, coded data, and even dabbled in content moderation for an AI-driven platform, jobs that paid little and drained his spirit. The work was not only precarious, but also devoid of the dignity he once felt in creating something tangible. Ayan began to see himself as a cog in a larger, impersonal machine, his individuality eroded by the very technology that had promised progress. It was during this period of despair that Ayan stumbled upon a community of slow-tech artisans. What began as a curiosity, watching a street artist craft a stunning lamp from recycled materials, grew into a revelation. This community, scattered across the city, had embraced a philosophy of reinvention, reclaiming skills that machines could not replicate: artistry, empathy, and the human touch. Their creations were not just products, they were statements of identity and resistance. Ayan was reluctant at first, doubting his ability to start anew. But the community welcomed him with open arms, offering free workshops and mentorship. One day, a mentor handed Ayan a simple block of wood and a carving knife, telling him, "This isn't just a piece of wood. It's a story waiting for your hands." Slowly, Ayan began to carve. The process was painstaking, but with each stroke, he felt a part of himself return, the part that took pride in creating something unique and meaningful. As he grew more skilled, Ayan found himself drawn to combining the old and the new. He began crafting custom furniture using traditional methods, but enhanced with smart materials that could adapt to temperature and lighting conditions. His work gained recognition, and soon he was not only earning a livelihood, but also inspiring others who had been displaced by automation. The chapter delves deeper into the broader implications of Ayan's journey. Through his lens, we see a world where automation has displaced millions, but also opened doors to creative reinvention. This shift isn't easy. It demands a rethinking of education, work, and value itself. It challenges societies to invest in their people, to see them as more than economic units. Ayan's story becomes a beacon, illustrating that while machines may surpass humans in speed and precision, they cannot replicate the depth of human creativity and the power of community. In the end, Ayan's transformation is not just about survival, it's about rediscovering purpose. His tale underscores the resilience of the human spirit and the limitless potential of reinvention in a world where change is the only constant. Chapter 6: The Fabric of Connection. Myra's journey takes her to a quiet yet vibrant community hub in the heart of a struggling industrial town. Here, she meets Aisha, a 27-year-old artist whose passion for creating functional, beautiful spaces has led her to reimagine how people connect through technology and shared goals. Aisha's current project involves using 3D printing technology to rebuild homes in a neighboring town ravaged by a recent earthquake. Her workshop hums with the sound of printers layering materials as volunteers assemble parts, sharing laughter and ideas over cups of tea. Mira is struck by how Aisha's efforts blend cutting-edge tools with a deeply human sense of care and collaboration. As Mira interviews Aisha, she learns that the workshop was not always a place of hope. Aisha admits that, after losing her parents to the earthquake, she had initially felt crushed by despair. The turning point came when she discovered an online community of makers and engineers who pooled their resources and knowledge to create disaster relief solutions. Through virtual classrooms and video tutorials, Aisha taught herself 3D modeling and printing. She realized that technology, far from isolating her, could be a bridge to people she might never have met otherwise. Technology isn't a solution by itself, Aisha tells Mira. It's the connections we make through it that truly transform lives. Intrigued, Mira explores similar initiatives around the world. She meets Javier, a teacher in a remote village in South America who uses virtual reality to connect his students to classrooms on other continents. Children in his school, who had never dreamed of traveling beyond their valley, now explore virtual museums, attend lectures by world-renowned scientists, and exchange ideas with peers thousands of miles away. Javier explains how this exposure has broadened their horizons and instilled a sense of curiosity and ambition that wasn't there before. In another corner of the globe, Mira speaks with an elderly couple in Scandinavia who run an online storytelling circle for seniors. Using simple video calling technology, they connect retirees across the world to share tales from their youth. These sessions not only preserve cultural heritage, but also combat loneliness, fostering a sense of community among people who might otherwise feel forgotten. Mira begins to see a pattern. While technology often gets blamed for isolating people, when used intentionally, it can strengthen the fabric of human connection. The key lies in focusing not on the tools themselves, but on the values and creativity of the people wielding them. She notices that the most successful initiatives are those driven by empathy and the desire to bridge divides. By the end of her journey, Mira realizes that these grassroots movements hold the potential to reshape society in profound ways. They remind her that progress doesn't always come from top-down systems or massive corporations. Sometimes it's the small, intentional acts of individuals like Aisha and Javier that ripple outward, creating a more connected and compassionate world. As Mira writes about their stories, she begins to see the interconnectedness of humanity not as a distant dream, but as a reality already taking shape, thread by thread. Chapter 7. Fragile Freedoms. Myra's investigative journey takes a darker turn as she uncovers the intricate web of surveillance and control that has crept into everyday life. The chapter begins with her receiving an encrypted tip from Anika, the whistleblower she had met earlier, who warns her of a multinational company using artificial intelligence and big data to manipulate elections and control public opinion. This revelation shocks Mira but also aligns with unsettling patterns she's noticed. The eerie precision of advertisements targeting personal fears, the silencing of dissenting voices online, and the growing normalization of digital surveillance. As she digs deeper, Mira realizes that these systems are not just tools for convenience, they are mechanisms of power that can erode the freedoms people take for granted. Mira meets individuals whose lives have been altered by this unseen control. One such person is Ravi, a teacher who was fired after his online comments questioning local government policies were flagged as subversive by an algorithm. Ravi explains how the opaque systems left him with no avenue for appeal. The decisions were made by machines, and the humans behind them remained unreachable. His story echoes that of many others Mira encounters, who find themselves punished not for crimes, but for expressing views that do not align with prevailing narratives. Through Ravi's plight, Mira begins to see how the unchecked use of surveillance and AI creates a chilling effect on free speech, turning democracies into shadowed realms of fear and mistrust. As Mira compiles evidence for her exposé, she faces challenges from all sides. Her editor, under pressure from corporate sponsors, questions the relevance of her story, suggesting she tone it down to avoid controversy. Mira feels the weight of this moment. Publishing the truth could jeopardize her career and perhaps even her safety. Yet, withholding it feels like complicity. The narrative dives into Myra's internal struggle, reflecting the broader societal tension between convenience and liberty. People willingly trade privacy for the benefits of technology, rarely considering the cost until it is too late. In her quest, Mira attends a clandestine meeting of digital rights activists. Here, she hears diverse voices advocating for a future where technology serves humanity rather than controls it. A young coder named Zoya demonstrates how encrypted communication tools can protect individuals from intrusive surveillance, while an older journalist recounts stories of governments using AI to suppress freedom under the guise of public safety. These accounts leave Mira inspired, but also overwhelmed by the complexity of the issue. She realizes that reclaiming freedom in a digitally dominated world requires not just individual vigilance, but systemic change, a daunting prospect in a society enamored with convenience and speed. The chapter closes with Mira drafting her article, knowing its publication could spark backlash, but also awaken the public to the fragility of their freedoms. She writes, "Freedom, once traded for security or ease, is rarely recovered. In this moment, we are not just losing privacy, we are losing the ability to think, speak, and live without fear." The question is, how far are we willing to let it slip before we act? The chapter ends with her finger hovering over the Publish button, embodying the tension between courage and caution that defines this pivotal moment in her story. Chapter 8. Seeds of Hope. Myra's journey takes her back to Kai's Island, a place she first visited when it was on the brink of devastation. Rising sea levels and violent storms had once made it a symbol of the planet's environmental collapse. Now, years later, the island has become a beacon of renewal and resilience, transformed by the power of collective action and human ingenuity. As Mira steps off the boat, she is greeted not by despair, but by a vibrant community working in harmony with nature. The air hums with the sound of solar panels tilting toward a sun, wind turbines spinning gracefully along the shoreline, and the laughter of children playing in fields newly planted with native trees. Kai welcomes her warmly, his face reflecting the determination and hope that have carried his people through their struggles. He explains how the island's transformation began with a coalition of local leaders, scientists, and global activists who came together to address the immediate threats posed by climate change. The first step was building resilient infrastructure, homes elevated on stilts to withstand floods, and new irrigation systems to preserve freshwater. Renewable energy projects soon followed, with solar farms and microhydro systems providing clean, sustainable power to the community. But the true heart of the island's revival lies in its people. Kai takes Mira to the community center, where villagers gather to share knowledge and ideas. Elders teach traditional practices of land stewardship, while younger generations bring in modern techniques like permaculture and bioengineering. This blending of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge technology has created a sustainable model that not only restores the land, but also empowers its caretakers. Kai beams with pride as he shows Mira a mangrove forest replanted along the coast, which now acts as a natural barrier against storms while fostering marine biodiversity. Mira is struck by the spirit of collaboration that permeates the island. Everyone, regardless of age or skill, has a role to play in its recovery. Artists paint murals to inspire hope. Teachers incorporate environmental education into their lessons, and fishermen work with scientists to ensure sustainable practices in their trade. Even children participate, tending to seedlings in a community nursery that will one day grow into a forest. The island has become a living testament to the idea that no effort is too small when faced with a global challenge. As Kai and Mira walk through the village, she notices something remarkable: the absence of despair. Instead, there is a sense of purpose, a shared belief that the future can be shaped by their hands. Mira reflects on the stark contrast between this thriving island and the urban centers she has reported on, where discussions about climate change often feel distant and abstract. Here, the effects are tangible, and so are the solutions. That evening, Mira attends a celebration held under the stars. The villagers gather to share stories, dance, and feast on food grown in their revitalized fields. As the night unfolds, Mira feels a profound sense of hope, an understanding that while the challenges ahead are immense, humanity's capacity for resilience and innovation is even greater. The seeds of change planted here on this small island have the potential to inspire the world, proving that a better future is not only possible, but within reach if people come together with courage and determination. In Chapter 9, The Human Algorithm, Mira returns to meet Dr. Elias, the scientist who had once opened her eyes to the potential and risks of advanced neural interfaces. This time, Dr. Elias introduces a revolutionary concept that he has been working on in secret: the human algorithm. He explains that for decades, artificial intelligence has been evolving rapidly, often without much consideration for the values and ethics that are deeply ingrained in humanity. Machines, he argues, have the capacity to process information and make decisions faster and more accurately than humans, but they lack the emotional depth, intuition, and moral compass that guide human actions. The human algorithm, Elias claims, is a framework designed to bridge this gap, blending the best of human consciousness with the power of AI. At its core, the human algorithm isn't just a set of mathematical instructions for machines. It's a philosophical approach to integrating human values into AI's decision-making processes. Elias outlines that the algorithm must account for key human principles such as empathy, fairness, respect for privacy, and an understanding of the complexities of human emotion. The idea is not to make machines feel as humans do, but to ensure that AI systems can make choices that align with human dignity, cultural nuances, and ethical standards. Mira is both intrigued and skeptical. While she sees the potential of such a system, she also understands the challenges it presents. The first obstacle is defining what human values are in a global context. What might be considered ethical in one culture may not be the same in another. For instance, the value of individual privacy is cherished in many Western nations, but in some parts of the world, collective security may take precedence. Dr. Elias acknowledges this complexity and emphasizes that the human algorithm is not meant to enforce a singular set of values, but rather to allow AI to navigate these differences with sensitivity and respect. Another challenge is the question of who decides what values are prioritized. Dr. Elias admits that the creation of the human algorithm will require a diverse and inclusive effort involving ethicists, technologists, sociologists, and communities worldwide. It must be a global conversation, as the algorithm will influence not only personal devices, but also the decision-making in critical sectors like healthcare, law enforcement, and even political governance. There's a real risk of bias creeping into the system, whether intentional or unintentional, and this is a point of deep concern for Mira. As Elias further explains, the human algorithm is designed to be a dynamic, evolving system that learns from its mistakes and adapts over time. It can't be set in stone. It needs constant reevaluation and human oversight to ensure it serves its intended purpose. The challenge lies in ensuring that humanity remains at the center of technological innovation, rather than letting technology become an uncontrollable force that shapes human lives without accountability. Mira begins to understand that the human algorithm is not just a technical solution, it's a call to action. It asks society to step up, take responsibility, and decide how they want their future to unfold in partnership with AI. It's a challenge to humanity's collective consciousness to think carefully about how technology, with all its potential, should serve humanity in a world that is becoming increasingly interconnected and automated. The chapter ends on a note of cautious optimism. Mira realizes that while the road ahead is uncertain, the creation of the human algorithm might just be the key to writing a future where humans and machines coexist harmoniously, guided by values that prioritize the well-being of everyone. But for this vision to succeed, it will require global cooperation, vigilance, and a shared commitment to ensuring that the algorithms shaping the world reflect the best of humanity. Chapter 10. Writing the Future. Mira's final chapter unfolds as a moment of profound realization. After months of research, interviews, and personal transformation, she finally sits down to write the article that will define the future not just of technology or society, but of herself. The weight of the responsibility settles on her shoulders. She reflects on the countless people she met during her journey: Kai, Ayan, Dr. Elias, Anika, and many others, each of whom had shaped her understanding of what the future could be. Through their eyes, she saw a world that was both perilous and full of potential, a world where human agency could either perpetuate harm or foster profound change. Mira begins her article by acknowledging the technological advancements that have reshaped the world's smart cities, artificial intelligence, automation, and neural interfaces. But she doesn't shy away from discussing the darker side of progress: surveillance, data manipulation, and the relentless erosion of privacy. She paints a picture of a world at the crossroads, where the pace of innovation often outstrips society's ability to manage its consequences. The article is not just a summary of the present. It's a call to action for those reading to recognize the power they have to shape what comes next. As she writes, Mira revisits the concept of the human algorithm of vision proposed by Dr. Elias. It's the idea that as we integrate technology more deeply into our lives, we must ensure that human values, compassion, fairness, justice are embedded in every decision we make. She realizes that this isn't just about preventing harm, but about actively shaping a future that aligns with the best aspects of humanity. This requires creating a society that is conscious of its choices, whether that means supporting sustainable practices like those Kai advocated for or pushing back against the corporations trying to profit off human behavior. It's about ensuring that technology serves humanity rather than the other way around. In this chapter, Myra's perspective deepens. The article becomes not just an assignment, but a manifesto, a blueprint for the future she hopes to see. She challenges her readers to think critically about their roles in this unfolding narrative. It is not just governments or corporations that shape the future, but every individual. Through their daily choices, what they buy, how they engage with technology, how they treat others, they are writing the future one action at a time. The future, Myra argues, is not something that happens to us. It is something we collectively create, whether consciously or by default. The final paragraphs of the article reflect on hope. Myra draws inspiration from the people she met: Kai's fight to save his island, Ayan's journey of reinvention, Anika's courage to expose the truth, and the many quiet, unsung heroes working for change. She writes, "The future is unwritten, but it is ours to write. We are the authors of this story, and it's up to us to decide whether it's a tragedy or a triumph." As Myra finishes, she reflects on the journey that led her here. The story ends with a sense of open possibility. Her article is published, and the world begins to respond. Some react with excitement, others with skepticism, but all are forced to reckon with the central question: what role will they play in shaping the future? The book closes with a sense of both resolution and open-endedness, inviting the reader to ponder their part in the ongoing story, knowing that the future, like the pages of a book, remains unwritten. As Myra watches the world respond to her words, she realizes that the future is never set in stone. It's something we all create together, day by day. People start to question, to act, and to dream bigger than ever before. In that moment, Myra understands that the power to shape what's to come lies not in the hands of a few, but in the hearts of many. The future is unwritten, but it's up to each of us to fill its pages with hope, courage, and the will to make a better tomorrow. If you like this audiobook, then please like, share, and subscribe, and listen to other audiobook as well. Thanks for watching.